Welcome students. I am Dr. Smita Sharma and today we'll continue with linear applications of an operational amplifier. So in the previous lecture we were discussing some of the linear applications of the operational amplifier. In the previous lecture we have discussed the summing, scaling and averaging amplifier by using a non-inverting configuration and a differential configuration. In the differential configuration we had also discussed subtractor, how we can make operational amplifier to work as an electronic subtractor. Now today in this lecture we will discuss how operational amplifier can be used as an instrumentation amplifier. So first of all we'll discuss why there is need of an instrumentation amplifier. So basically in industrial application or consumer application, it is very necessary to control the physical conditions where the thing is being prepared, and or precise measurement is very necessary in the factories. For example, we can take that we in a dairy plant it is very necessary that the plant has a definite temperature, fixed temperature and humidity, so that the dairy products do not get spoiled. So if there is some device that measures the temperature and humidity of the plant, then the operator can identify if there is any changes, then it can suitably change the temperature or humidity, and so that product quality may not get destroyed. Similarly, if say if we have a plastic factory and in a plastic furnace it is required to have a certain temperature that should remain fixed, so that a proper formation of a particular type of plastic is formed. Or some in chemistry we have studied that some of the reaction takes place at a particular temperature only. So if we are making that if we are trying to make that product which is formed only at a particular pressure and temperature, then the furnace should remain at that temperature and pressure. So it is also necessary that there should be some device that measures this temperature and pressure. So here instrumentation amplifier comes into picture. So first we'll discuss instrumentation system. Generally, to measure any changes in the furnace or a plant, we generally use a transducer, or we can say a transducer is used at the measuring site to obtain the required information easily and safely, because we cannot go inside the furnace to measure the temperature, but we can use a device that can measure and give us the information inside the furnace. That will be a safe method. So what is a transducer? A transducer is basically a device that converts one form of energy into another form. So this can be used to measure a physical quantity at the site where the process is going on, and it converts it into another form so that we can find whether the quantity is stable or it is changing. For example, strain gauge is a device which, when subjected to pressure, undergoes a change in its resistance. So this strain gauge can act as a transducer. Similarly, if we are familiar with thermistors, thermistors are resistors that change their resistance when they are subjected to different types of temperatures, or we can say with temperature the resistance of the thermistor changes, so it can also act as a transducer. So there are many several devices that change one form of energy into another. All these can be suitably used according to need. So an instrumentation system is used to measure the output signal produced by a transducer. So what does this instrumentation system do? It only measures the what transducer is trying to tell us. It measures that output signal, and often with this system, if we have connected suitable devices, then it can control that physical signal also that is being produced. So now we will discuss the instrumentation amplifier. So the basic block diagram of an instrumentation amplifier is as shown in the figure. It is very simplified form of such a system. We can see here there are three stages are formed. One block represents input stage, second block represents the intermediate stage, and third is the output stage. The intermediate stage is the electronic circuit that behaves as an instrumentation amplifier. The input stage is composed of a preamplifier and some sort of transducer. This transducer is used according to the physical quantity that is to be measured. The output stage mainly uses device such as meter or oscilloscope or a chart or magnetic recorder, some type such a device that we are able to read, and we can record the changes. In automatic instrumentation system, the output stage also include an automatic process controller that compensates for changes in the operating condition. Sometimes there are automatic process controller that also if there is some certain change in the physical quantity, then it controls that physical quantity and does not allow it to change. Now also we can see in figure the connecting lines between input stage, output stage, intermediate stage. These lines are basically transmission lines that transfers unit energy from signal from one stage to another stage. Transmission lines are basically used when the transducer is placed at the measuring site at the site where the process is being done, and the physical quantity that is to be measured is in hazardous conditions. Like if we are speaking about a furnace, then we cannot place this instrumentation amplifier at that site. Instead we use a transducer that gives out the signal from the furnace, and it is that signal is then provided to the input stage. So the connecting lines between the blocks represent transmission lines, especially when the transducer has a remote test site and it monitors hazardous conditions such as high temperature or liquid levels of flammable chemicals. Now, why we use transmission line? Because transmission line permits signal transfer from unit to unit. So, the distortion of the signal is reduced, very greatly reduced. So, we have a undistorted signal. If we use a normal wires, then the leakage will be more and the signal will get distorted. The length of the transmission line depends primarily on the physical quantities to be monitored and on the system requirement. So if we are dealing with something that should be kept at very remote place, and then we have to study it, then the transmission line length of the transmission line will be more, otherwise it will be less. Now we are saying that the input stage includes a preamplifier. Now what do we mean by a preamplifier? So basically, preamplifier is an electronic amplifier that converts a weak electrical signal into an output signal. Now, each amplifier does this thing only. It converts a small signal and it amplifies to a large signal. But in a preamplifier, basically it is made in such a way that it identifies the weak signal, and it makes that signal strong enough, strong enough for further processing, and for sending to power amplifier and loudspeaker. So these three are the major functions of a preamplifier. Because now this is very necessary, because if say I am talking in a very low tone, so if I speak in a loud microphone, if I speak, then microphone is receiving many other electronic signals also. So there are many lots of noise signal also, and I am speaking in a very low tone. Then what will happen when my voice enters the amplifier of the system, the power amplifier? Then what does power amplifier do? It amplifies all the signals that the amplifier is receiving. So the power amplifier is receiving my signal that is very weak with a low tone, and it is also receiving lots and lots of noise signals. So it amplifies each and every signal. So it amplifies my voice, and also it amplifies the noise signal, because noise signal was already superseding my voice. Then after passing through the power amplifier, it overrides my voice, and only thing that we can understand is the noise. So my voice is not audible to anyone, and we get lots and lots of distortion. To remove this such sort of thing, it is necessary to make my weak signal strong enough for amplification. So pre-amplifier is basically used in audio systems, so that if there is some weak signal is coming, it improves it, and it makes it noise tolerant, and it makes it more strong, so that it can be amplified, and it can be audible to the person who is listening without distortion. So thus if there was no preamplifier, then the final signal would be noisy or distorted. So basically, preamplifier is an amplifier that produces a larger output suitable for driving tone and volume controls. They are generally audio amplifier with less than 50 megawatts of output power, and are generally used in stereos. So all our stereo system includes a preamplifier. They are optimized for low noise because they are used at the front end of the audio systems, where they amplify weak signal. So they are made in such a way that they are optimized for low noise, and they are always placed in the front end of the audio system, so that they are able to amplify the weak signals. So this is all about preamplifier. So first of all, in the instrumentation system, at the input stage, we take two things. One is transducer, and other is a preamplifier. Now the signal source of instrumentation amplifier is the output of transducer. Although some transducer produce outputs with sufficient strength to permit their use directly, many do not. So what we are saying here, that the input to the instrumentation amplifier is provided by the transducer of the input stage along with the preamplifier. Some of the transducers allow a strong signal that can easily be used by the instrumentation amplifier, but some of the transducers produce a weak signal, so they are made strong with the help of preamplifiers. So to amplify the low level output signal of the transducer so that it can drive the indicator or display is the major function of the instrumentation amplifier. So here this gives the main basic function of the instrumentation amplifier. What we are doing, the transducer is telling us about the physical quantity that we want to measure in form of an output signal, and that output signal is low level. It can be made little bit strong by the help of preamplifier, but basic major function of the instrumentation amplifier is to gather that information that transducer is providing us, and it should be amplified without distortion in such a way so that it can move the indicator, or it can that signal can be watched on oscilloscope, or it can be made on graphs in the output stage. So basically the output signal after passing through the instrumentation amplifier should be able to drive the indicator or display the results, the final results. That is the main function of the instrumentation amplifier. Basically what it is doing, it is only amplifying the signal that is coming from the transducer. In short, the instrumentation amplifier is intended for precise low level signal amplification where low noise, low thermal and time drifts, high input impedance and accurate closed loop gain are required. So instrumentation amplifier should perform low level signal amplification following that the signal should have a low noise, low thermal and time drifts, it should have a high input impedance and a very accurate closed loop gain. Besides the low power consumption, high common mode rejection ratio and high slew rate are desirable for superior performance. So for an instrumentation amplifier, any operational amplifier that is acting like an instrumentation amplifier should have low power consumption, high common mode rejection ratio, high slew rate, so that it can show its superior performance. There are many instrumentation operational amplifiers such as MUA 725, ICL 7605, LH20036. These when these ICs are applied in the circuit, they make the circuit stable and gives very accurate reading, but these ICs are relatively expensive. So these are used where the quality is to be maintained at any cost. There these ICs are used. But if there is possibility, if that the quality wavers from slightly from here and there, then general differential amplifier or normal operational amplifier, that we call general purpose operational amplifiers, can also be used in general, like we are doing some experiment in a lab. So if there are slight error is occurring, then it is okay. It cannot, it doesn't do any harm to us. So in that cases, general purpose operational amplifiers can be used. So the basic requirement for instrumentation op-amps are more rigid than those for general purpose applications. So when we are using operational amplifier for instrumentation system, they should strictly follow the necessary conditions. However, where the requirements are not too strict, the general purpose op-amps can be employed in the differential mode. So the differential amplifiers that we have discussed before in the previous lectures can be employed as an instrumentation amplifier. Since most of the instrumentation system use a transducer in the bridge circuit, we will consider a simplified differential instrumentation system arrangement using a transducer bridge circuit. So what we will do now, in order to understand the working of instrumentation amplifier system, we simply take a bridge circuit in which a transducer is placed, and we will this will give us an idea of the how does the instrumentation amplifier system works. So what we are studying here, we are studying simplified differential instrumentation system arrangement using a transducer bridge circuit. So this is the basic diagram of an instrumentation amplifier using transducer bridge. So in the diagram you can see there is, first of all, there is a bridge of 4 resistors to which a DC supply is connected at two ends. This is the circle is denoted by a transducer. Here it is written resistive transducer. Then we have 3 operational amplifier, out of which 2 are working as a voltage follower and 1 is working as a differential amplifier. The output of the differential amplifier is then supplied to the indicator, which reads the output signal. So this is the basic instrumentation amplifier using transducer bridge. The figure shows this is the simplified differential instrumentation amplifier. Here a resistive transducer whose resistance changes as a function of some physical energy is connected in one arm of the bridge with a small circle around it, and it is denoted by RT plus minus delta R, where RT is the resistance of the transducer and delta R is the change in the resistance produced. And why this change will be produced? This change will be produced according to the physical quantity that it is connected to. So if the physical quantity changes, then the resistance of this transducer starts changing. So the change is represented by delta R. Now we'll discuss this in detail. So now I have in figure I have shown only the bridge part of the instrumentation amplifier system. So the balanced bridge at some reference condition, the potential across RA is equal to potential across RB. Potential across RA is equal to potential across RB. A potential across RA is equal to potential across RB. If we calculate what is potential across RA, RA is to the one end of RA is VA potential and to the other is ground potential. Also in case of RB, one end is VB and other end is ground. So what we can write? So potential difference across RA is equal to VA minus 0. So and potential across RB, potential difference across RB is VB minus 0. Or we can write VA is equals to VB. Now if we see in the figure, we can calculate VB. Now how we can calculate VB? For this we'll take different loops. So first of all we'll take this loop. From VDC we'll go to RC, and then we'll go to RB, and then we'll return back to VDC. Now writing Kirchhoff's law, if IB is the current flowing here in this, then what will be the Kirchhoff's law? IB current is flowing inside here, RC and RB. So IB is equals to RC plus RB is equals to VDC. This we have written, VDC is equals to IB RC plus RB. Now what will be IB? IB will be VDC upon RC plus RB. Now if we calculate VB, what is VB? VB is the current flowing in RB and into RB. So we can write IB into RB. So putting the value of IB, we place it here, VDC RC plus RB into RB. This becomes equation 2, and this is VB. In the same manner we can calculate VA. So what is happening here? The current is coming here, it is splitting it into two parts, IB and IA. So IA current is flowing through RT, RA, and then we can consider this loop. From VDC we are going into RT, RA, and then returning back. So if we write Kirchhoff's equation in this loop, we get VDC is equals to IA RT plus RA. Again we calculate IA, and then we calculate VA. VA will be the current flowing through RA, so into RA, so IA into RA. So IA is VDC upon RT plus RA into RA. So we get two equations, VB of VB and VA. Putting these equation 2 and 3, the values from equation 2 and 3 in 1, what do we get? Simply we get RB VDC upon RB plus RC is equals to RA VDC RA plus upon RA plus RT. If we simplify it further, what do we get? We get RC upon RB is equals to RT upon RA. Generally resistors RA, RB, RC selected so that they are equal in value. Generally these all three resistors are kept of the same value, and RT is also kept at the same value according to some reference condition. So that suppose there is a furnace in which we have to maintain temperature 300. So in order to make the temperature 300, the RT resistance, this bridge will be in balanced position when the resistance corresponding to 300 degree temperature is shown here. Suppose its value is 1K. So all these are kept at 1K so that this bridge is initially balanced. Now if the temperature of the furnace increases from 300 to 400, then the resistance of RT will change by delta R. It will be either positive or negative. If it decreases, then also it will change, and this will make this bridge unbalanced. And in unbalanced condition, what will happen? Current will flow. Initially when this bridge is in balanced position, current will not flow. But if any of the arm becomes unbalanced, the bridge becomes unbalanced, and the current flows starts flowing through the circuit. It then goes into the instrument operational amplifier that is connected in the intermediate stage. The reference condition is the specific value of the physical quantity under measurement at which bridge is balanced. This is the same thing that we have explained, that the reference condition is set according to the physical quantity that is being measured, and the reference condition is also decided according to the value of the physical quantity. Uh, and it For the reference condition, the resistances are so chosen so that bridge remains balanced. This value is normally established by the designer and depends on the transducer characteristics, that quantity to be measured, and the desired applications. The bridge is balanced initially at a desired reference condition. However, as the physical quantity to be measured changes, the resistance of the transducer also changes, which causes the bridge to unbalance. This we have discussed, that what happens initially, the according to the physical quantity, the transducer has been given a definite resistance, and according to that resistance all three other resistances are decided, so that bridge remains initially balanced position. But when the physical quantity, there is change in some physical quantity parameters, then the resistance of the transducer changes, and this makes the bridge unbalanced. So in that case, VA is not equal to B. For a balanced condition, VA is equals to VB. The output voltage of the bridge can be expressed as the function of change in resistance of the transducer. So if there is a mismatch between VA and VB, a signal will proceed in the amplifier, and that signal will be directly proportional to the changes occurring in the transducer, resistance of the transducer. Now again we'll take this bridge circuit. Now initially we had considered that the bridge is balanced, bridge is in balanced position, and in that case RC upon RB is equals to RT upon RA. Now if a physical quantity that transducer is measuring, uh, it changes, so that will produce some change in the resistance of the transducer. Now let this change of resistance in the transducer is delta R. Then what happens? As seen from the diagram, we can see that RC and RB are fixed resistors. We are not changing, and they are not. We are not changing them. So, because RB and RC are fixed resistor, then this voltage VB will be constant. Also, RT and RA are fixed resistors, but delta R is changing. Because of this, this resistance changes. So, what will happen? VA changes as a function of this change in resistance delta R. So there is change in transducer resistance voltage. VA varies as its function. Now we have already calculated VA VB using voltage divider rule. We'll calculate, we'll write it again, but here now what will be changed? Instead of RA plus RT in denominator for VA, now we will write RA plus RT plus delta R, because now we are using delta R change in resistance. We are also including this delta R, but VB will remain same because there is no change in resistance here. Now since the bridge is not balanced, now what will happen? The bridge is not balanced, so VA will not be equal to VB, so the resultant voltage will be equal to VAB. So what is VAB? VAB is simply VA minus VB. So we'll calculate VAB. So voltage VAB across the output terminals of the bridge will be this. We have put the values of VA and VB. Now here we are simplifying the situation by considering RA, RB, RC and RT to have some same value. Let this be equal to R, and if we place these values, then what we get? We get a simplified VAB, that is equal to minus VDC upon 2 bracket 2R plus delta R into delta R. This is the potential difference across point A and B, and it is this potential difference is fed into the operational amplifier stage, intermediate stage. Here as you can see that VAB has a negative sign. This indicates that VA is less than VB as delta R increases, and this VAB is applied to the differential instrumentation amplifier. Now what happens then? Now we are taking the whole diagram. We have already discussed the bridge part, and now we'll see the differential amplifier stage. So differential instrumentation amplifier is composed of 3 operational amplifier. As you can see, these two amplifiers, the initial, this amplifier and this amplifier, both these amplifier work as a voltage follower. They are simply used because they reduce the loading of the input circuit to the output circuit, and they act as a buffering circuit. They isolate input stage by the output stage. Next, the gain of, we know voltage follower circuit has gain 1. So simply after the signal passes through these two operational amplifier, and then it goes into the third op amp where it gets amplified. The voltage follower preceding the basic differential amplifier help to eliminate loading of the bridge circuit. The gain of basic differential amplifier is RF upon R1. Therefore, the output voltage, what will be the output voltage of this circuit? The output voltage will be simply VAB is the input voltage and gain is RF upon R1. So putting the value of VAB, we can write the following equation. Now what does this equation means? This means that VO is a function of change in resistance delta R of the transducer. So whatever VO is being measured by the meter or oscilloscope is directly related to the change in resistor delta R. So indirectly we are able to keep a track of the delta R change, change in the resistance, or we can say that we are keeping track of the physical quantity that is being changed and due to which delta R is being introduced. Since the change in resistor is caused by change in physical energy, a meter connected at the output can be calibrated in terms, we can always calibrate in terms of physical quantity, and then we can directly measure the changes in the physical energy. So we can if we are the physical quantity that is being tracked is the temperature. So the temperature causes change in resistor, so that introduces delta R. This delta R produces VAB. This VAB gives rise to V naught, and this V naught drives the meter. If we calibrate the meter in terms of temperature, we can directly measure the temperature. So the person is able to see that the temperature of the furnace is this, and now this has changed to by some quantity, or it has been increased to some quantity. In such a way, the instrumentation amplifier with transducer bridge acts. But the transducer operates in certain specified limits, and in this limits, this delta R is a linear form of the output voltage, is the linear form of delta R. Now, where instrumentation amplifier is used, basically its application. So initially the important parameter that is being used in the instrumentation amplifier is the transducer. There are most commonly used resistive transducer that are thermistors, resistors, and strain gauge. These are most commonly used resistive transducers. In these resistive type of transducers, the resistance of transducer changes as a function of some physical quantity. Now the applications where instrumentation amplifier circuit can be used is as a temperature indicator, temperature controller. It can be used in light intensity meter. It can be used for measurement of flow and thermal conductivity, and in analog weight scale. So these are some of the application where instrumentation amplifier can be used. So, but in this we have discussed in detail instrumentation amplifier using a transducer bridge circuit. It can be made in a different form also, that we are not discussing here. We are only discussing a simplified way. One thing here I have not discussed, that is the CMRR of the instrumentation amplifier. In such a circuit, CMRR of the amplifier circuit is a very important parameter that should be taken into consideration before making the circuit. Now in the next lecture, we will discuss some more applications of the operational amplifier. Thank you.